Intimacy after 70 is not something many people talk openly about. But perhaps they should, because closeness, affection, connection, and sexuality don't suddenly disappear because you've had more birthdays. Intimacy and sexuality can actually become more meaningful and more rewarding as we get older. But let's be honest, there can also be a lot working against us. Changing bodies, changing hormones, aches and pains, lower energy, things that don't always work or feel the way they once did. And for many couples, life slowly gets in the way too. Conversations become practical, routines take over, connection can quietly slip into the background. And many couples quietly drift apart without ever talking about it. But getting older doesn't mean giving up intimacy. It doesn't mean giving up closeness. And it certainly doesn't mean giving up feeling wanted, connected, and deeply close to the person you love. Today, we're going to talk honestly, no nonsense, no embarrassment, about practical ways to improve intimacy and sexuality after 70. And stay with me, because one of the most important things that strengthens intimacy later in life isn't physical at all, and understanding it can make a bigger difference than many people realize. One of the biggest misunderstandings about intimacy later in life is thinking it starts in the bedroom. Often, it starts much earlier. Emotional closeness matters. Feeling heard matters. Feeling safe with another person matters. Many long-term couples fall into practical conversations. The bills, the groceries, the appointments, but meaningful conversation slowly disappears. One simple thing that helps is asking open questions. Not, "Did you have a good day?" but, "What's been on your mind lately? What are you enjoying most right now? What's something you've been worried about?" Small questions can open bigger conversations. Another powerful habit is sharing vulnerabilities. Many people spend decades trying to appear strong, but closeness often grows when people allow themselves to be honest, saying, "I've been feeling a bit lonely lately. I've been worried about getting older. I've been struggling with confidence." Honesty and vulnerability creates connection, which leads to another important part of intimacy: listening. Not waiting for your turn to speak, really listening. Put distractions away. Look at the person. Let them finish speaking. Ask follow-up questions. Validate feelings. Often, people don't need solutions. They need to feel understood. Instead of, "You're worrying too much," try, "I can understand why that feels difficult." Feeling emotionally safe strengthens intimacy. A key part of improving intimacy is creating shared experiences again. Long relationships can become routine, comfortable, predictable. And while comfort is valuable, novelty matters too. Shared experiences create connection. They don't need to be expensive. A walk together, a drive somewhere different, learning something together, trying a new restaurant, looking through old photographs, taking a class. Shared experiences create new memories. New memories help relationships feel alive again. And there's something else that matters too: touch. Not just sexual touch, everyday touch. Holding hands while you walk, sitting close together on the couch, a hand on someone's shoulder, a hug that lasts a few seconds longer. Human touch matters more than many people realize. It helps people feel safe, connected, wanted, seen. Over time, many couples slowly stop touching without even noticing it. But small moments of physical closeness can help rebuild emotional closeness too. Sometimes intimacy doesn't begin with grand gestures. Sometimes it begins with simply reaching for someone's hand again. Earlier, I mentioned that one of the most important things that strengthens intimacy later in life isn't physical at all. This is it. Emotional safety. Feeling emotionally safe with another person changes everything. Feeling accepted, feeling heard, feeling understood. Feeling like you can be honest without embarrassment. Many people spend years trying to protect themselves. They stop talking openly. They hide worries. They avoid difficult conversations, especially around aging, changes in confidence, changes in health, concerns about intimacy, concerns about performance. But emotional closeness grows when people feel safe enough to say, "I've been struggling with changes in my body," or "I'm feeling disconnected from you." Those conversations can feel uncomfortable, but they often create something powerful: connection. Because intimacy later in life isn't simply built through physical closeness, it's built through emotional closeness too. And many couples discover that once emotional safety gets stronger, intimacy often becomes stronger too. The hardest part of aging is coping with the physical changes and how these directly impact intimacy and sexuality. Most people avoid talking about it, but bodies change, hormones change, energy changes. This is normal. For men, erectile difficulties become more common with age. That can affect confidence. It can create embarrassment. Sometimes people avoid intimacy entirely because they're worried about performance. For women, vaginal dryness, discomfort, or changes after menopause can affect intimacy too. Some people silently assume, this is just aging. But many physical changes have treatments or options that can help. The important thing is not suffering in silence. Talk to your doctor and be direct. You don't need complicated language. You can say, "I've noticed physical changes affecting intimacy. I'm experiencing discomfort. I'm having difficulty with erections. Sex has become uncomfortable." Doctors discuss these issues regularly. You are not the first person to ask. You won't be the last. Sometimes small adjustments make a meaningful difference. Sometimes medication helps. Sometimes lifestyle changes help. Sometimes understanding what's happening physically removes fear. There is no prize for struggling silently. One of the most important mindset shifts after 70 is understanding that intimacy doesn't have to look exactly like it did at 30. Connection matters. Affection matters. Touch matters. Holding hands, sitting together, laughing, feeling emotionally close. Intimacy is bigger than performance, bigger than expectations, bigger than comparison. Healthy relationships evolve. That's not failure. That's life. Getting older doesn't mean giving up closeness. It doesn't mean giving up affection. It doesn't mean giving up intimacy. Sometimes it simply means learning new ways to build it. Through better conversations, better listening, shared experiences, honesty, and asking for help when you need it. Because connection still matters. At 70, at 80, and beyond. If this video was helpful, please subscribe to Thrive After 60 and take good care.